Welcome to Panicking Mannequin. Today is Lab OSCE number 6. We're going to be focusing on your ability to make a diagnostic blood smear and safely stain it using DiffQuick. We're going to head over to the clinic. The examiners will be checking to see that you wear the correct PPE, select the correct sample, create and appraise blood smears, safely stain a pre-prepared blood smear, and correctly dispose of your waste. Okay, so we're going to don our PPE first. Get that tied before we put our gloves on. Okay, and gloves. Okay, we need to select the correct sample, which is the EDTA sample, and then just gently invert just a few times, so we know we can ignore that one. We also need to select our hematocrit tubes, so we've got plain and we've got ones that are heparinized. So we don't need the heparinized ones because we've got EDTA, so they can go aside. We're going to select our microscope slides. We're going to make 2 and a spreader. Take our hematocrit, and we're going to pop that in there until some of it climbs up the capillary tube, block the end, pop that there. We can always wipe the outside if it's a bit messy, and pop that tissue straight in the clinical waste. Now we're going to pop the lid back on our EDTA sample. We are not going to leave the hematocrit tubes in the blood sample. So we're going to put a little bit of blood onto our slide. This is a bit thick as it's been there a day. We're going to discard immediately. If there's any blood on our gloves now, we're going to change. And it's all about avoiding contaminating our area. Don't worry, you've got plenty of time. Take your spreading slide down into the dot, wait, and then up. And down into the blood drop, wait, and up. Get rid of your spreader. And then we're going to appraise them. So first thing we're going to look at is, are they long enough? So yep, they've got good height on them. Do they have a feathered edge? Yep, they have a feathered edge. Are there any bands or streaking? If it's a particularly lipid sample, was there any grit on the slide? And is it wide enough? And that it's not too thick. And then we're going to be positive about it and say that it's diagnostic, we're happy with it. We're going to keep one, we're going to get rid of the other. So let's keep this one, let's get rid of this one, straight into the sharps. Then we're going to initial it. Then we would come over to the assessor and we would take a pre-prepared blood smear that they've made for us already. You want to take the tongs or a peg, whatever they give you, and secure that, so never dip, just with your hands. We're going to do 5 1-second dips. 2, 3, 4, 5, and let the excess run off before moving to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then finally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we went from the fixer to the eosinophil stain, and we've landed finally on the basophil stain. Then we're going to use our distilled water to just rinse off that slide. There we go. And then we're going to leave it to air dry, stood upright, so feathered edge down, like so. We're then going to discard of our PPE. into the clinical waste bin. And that ends the task. So that's 6 minutes up. Let's take a look at what the most common areas are for mistakes. Not selecting the EDTA sample, not gently inverting the sample, contaminating yourself or the station, not wearing PPE, producing poor quality smears, incorrect recall of the diagnostic qualities of a good smear, incorrect use of the diff quick stains, not labelling your slides, not leaving the slide to air dry vertically, not using distilled water to rinse the slide, and poor waste disposal. Thanks for joining me today. I hope that's made you feel a touch better about this task and you're feeling a little bit more confident going into your OSCEs. If there's other students you know that might benefit from this, do share it with them. It does really help the channel grow so we can reach more students like yourself. Thanks so much.